My name is Naomi. I am currently working as an ordinary office worker and have faced many difficulties to reach this situation. All these difficulties were domestic, and our family's complex relationships have greatly affected me. My relationship with my mother has not been good since I was a child, and we often clashed. One reason is that her personality is too strict. Additionally, the fact that I resemble my father, Nathan, also affected our delicate relationship. My father was not a man who resorted to violence, nor was he unfaithful. In fact, he was a very honest person, and it was a wonder to me why he ever married my mother. The main reason my mother disliked my father was his low income. Moreover, while my father led a stable office worker life, he always harbored dreams of becoming a cartoon artist, which my mother despised. However, during my childhood, I lived without facing major problems. This was all because of the presence of my father, which also caused my mother to act coldly. Despite our poverty, my father always maintained his kindness and constantly encouraged me. He always expressed concern about my poor relationship with my mother, supporting me from behind. "Despite what your mom says, I will definitely make our dreams come true," he always asserted. It is true that we lived in poverty, but I loved my father dearly. Against this backdrop, as a child, I felt issues with my mother but somehow maintained our relationship. However, our relationship deteriorated rapidly when I started university. Eventually, my mother decided to divorce my father. The background to this included a bartender from a nightclub, whom my mother frequented to forget her discord with my father. This man, 14 years younger than her, is now my stepfather. I call him stepfather for convenience, but his personality was far from that of a true father. He called me "Hey, you," and flaunted his close relationship with my mother in front of me, which just amazed me. After graduating from university, I had trouble finding a job, and I continued to live at home with my mother and stepfather. But then an event occurred: my mother became pregnant. Needless to say, the baby's father was my problematic stepfather. In this situation, I gained a sister 24 years younger than me. She was named Erica, and she was so cute that one might think she resembled my stepfather. It's not good to say this, but she didn't seem to be born from my ordinary-looking mother. My stepfather was not a particularly charismatic bartender either. I'm neither beautiful nor ugly, but since I resemble my father, whom my mother dislikes, she quickly began comparing me and my sister. "Erica will become beautiful, unlike her sister," my mother declared. Because it was a late childbirth at 44, my mother's doting on her was extraordinary. On the other hand, her aversion to me increased. "Naomi, you are the older sister, so change Erica's diapers." My unemployed mother, obsessed with Korean dramas, began to order me around. Life after that was like hell. Surprisingly, Erica was very smart and entered a prestigious private kindergarten. At the time, I had a job but earned little, and without a man to support me like my mother had, I ended up living at home. I barely spoke to my family, effectively living a separate life within the same house. Then, a major incident occurred. It was an unforgettable moment from 8 years ago, when I was 30, during a family outing to an amusement park. However, it was a family in name only. My stepfather, who was very wealthy, drove us in his Porsche, and we talked inside the car. "Erica, you did well at the entrance exam to the prestigious elementary school. Congratulations on your acceptance. I can't believe she's my child. In the future, she'll become an elite leader and take good care of us." "Yes, I will do my best to meet both of your expectations, Mom, Dad." Erica was exceptionally adept and fit perfectly into her parents' expectations. The cleverness she exhibited was astonishing, as it did not match the characteristics of her actual parents. "I'm looking forward to seeing your future, Erica. In contrast, your sister. I won't become like Naomi." At that moment, the car was filled with laughter from my mother and stepfather, and I was frozen. Erica's nastiness was the spitting image of my mother. The day at the amusement park continued with hardships. On the roller coaster, the other three rode first, who then let me ride alone, teasing me while I was scared. It's not like you're going to fall. But life has got you down, hasn't it? How lame to have such a sister. In the haunted house, the other three went ahead, who then let me enter alone again, laughing at me at the exit while I was also being scared. There's no real ghost here. To be honest, she looks like a ghost. It's embarrassing to have such a sister. This behavior alone was enough for me to sever my ties with them. However, the decisive moment occurred during the return trip in the car. I need to use the restroom. It's only 30 more minutes to get home. Hold it. Why don't you stop now and let her do it in the nearby bushes? Ugh, I'm embarrassed to have such a sister who does this. At that point, my anger reached its peak, and suddenly, my stepfather hit the brakes. What's the matter? Sorry, I saw a stuffed toy and mistook it for an animal. I thought I was going to run over an animal. Huh? Something smells. At that moment, the impact of the sudden brake caused me to let a little bit out. What are you doing at your age? My Porsche's dirty now. Yuck, Naomi peed. As a human, I was prepared to admit my mistake. But Erica is my only daughter. I have no other daughters. I've always thought this, but you seem less like a stepdaughter or Erica's sister, and more like my sister, or maybe even Erica's aunt. It stinks. It stinks so bad. Everyone is hopeless. I've reached my limit. I hate this home. Well then, why don't you leave? It'll be refreshing. I don't want to see a face that reminds me of my former husband anymore. Really? It's truly laughable that you're running away. From now on, I'm an only child. I'm really happy. Is that what everyone thinks? I'll gladly leave then. And so, my patience finally snapped, and regardless of how shabby it might be, I left the luxurious apartment I used to live in and moved into this rundown apartment. However, although this apartment makes me free from that family, it's very old. Originally, I should have saved more money at home and moved to a better place. Since moving to the apartment, I've been living gloomy days. But one day, I received a letter from someone I hadn't heard from in a long time. It was from my father, with whom I had lost contact for many years. The letter apologized for the loss of contact and mentioned that although life was tough, he was doing well. Dad, it wasn't just me who was struggling. You were the only decent one in the family. I want to see you. Was he the one who had properly taken care of you? Yes, that's right. By the way, I haven't mentioned this, but I have a fiancé named Matt. We met at an inter-industry networking event and now live together in the apartment. Matt, while working stably as a company employee and pursuing his dreams, has never once frowned upon hearing about my past struggles and has always supported me. The apartment itself is simple, but he is not dissatisfied and even moved in eagerly to live with me. Why don't you go see your real father? There's an address on the envelope. I would like to, but he hasn't said he wants to see me, so I think I should wait a bit longer. Really? It feels a bit like a waste. I feel the same, but my father might have a new family now. So I've decided to wait until he says he wants to meet. How about this? You don't have to meet him directly, maybe just seeing him from a distance will be enough. That's a good idea. I haven't seen him in 15 years. He might look much older, but I'll recognize him if he's my parent. But how much you've changed might be a fresh surprise for him, so it might just be the right thing to do right now. So, I've decided to check on my father's condition on the weekend. I can't exactly stake out in front of his house, so I decided to watch from a nearby diner. Thanks to modern technology, I was able to confirm beforehand with Google Maps that there's a diner in front of my father's apartment. It really is a convenient era. My dad's apartment doesn't look much different from where I live. He aimed to be a cartoon artist, but seems to have not made it. Becoming a cartoon artist isn't easy. True, but it's hard to feel that all of his efforts have been in vain. I can't understand why a fine person like my father isn't rewarded while someone like Erica walks the path of success. Hey, is that him? He looks like the photo you showed me recently? Yes, that's Dad. It's really been a long time. However, his present self didn't look successful. He seemed to be holed up at home, continuously drawing cartoons and facing repeated failures. His hair was disheveled, his clothes were wrinkled, and he seemed somewhat distraught. Oh, he seems really down. It's hard to say this, but it looks a bit tough. I have dreams too, so I can understand how he feels. Yes, my memory of him was of someone who, despite not being financially or domestically blessed, used to shine brighter, but he must have struggled a lot. Welcome, today's drinks are half price. Ah. Sorry, waitress. Shocked by the sight of my father, I decided to leave the restaurant without ordering anything. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have gone to check on my father's situation. I really wanted to meet him if he looked well. Why don't you casually send him a letter and see how he responds? The letter was really brief, and he seems to have no leeway. From his appearance, it doesn't seem like he has a new family, and he feels lonely. Poor Dad. I deeply felt this as I returned home and checked the mailbox. What awaited me was something more shocking than pitying my father. There's a letter from Mom. What? From the mom who always made you suffer? Isn't this the first time since we started living together? Indeed. I had had no contact with my mother for 8 years since leaving home. Why would she want to contact me now? What's going on? What does it say? In the received letter, something unbelievable was written. Surprisingly, my mother, who had avoided me for years, requested to visit and meet me. What? What is she thinking now? Why does she want to come to my house? Maybe there's a reason. She might be regretting her past harshness. Impossible. Remember? I told you about the accident in the car and how she kicked me out. I can't believe such a person has changed. This leaves many questions unanswered. Why would someone who has scorned and ignored me for years suddenly change? She was always proud and mean, so there might be something behind this. Maybe she has a serious illness and doesn't have much time left. Really? If that's true, it's sad. Even if the past was painful, if she is sick, it might be worth sympathizing with. However, I'm wondering how she found our address. I, of course, didn't tell my address to my stepfather or Erica either. Hey, how does she know our address? It's a bit scary. Could it be through a detective? No, it might be simpler, like a family registry. Parents can easily obtain it, and it includes address information. While I think she could do something like that, I feel there are various means available in the world. So, is it true that your mom wants to come to our house? Actually, she's saying she wants to come over next week. Wow. Is she in a hurry? Definitely, it's not normal. She's always been odd, but there seems to be a special reason this time. There might be a sickness or some serious circumstance. Even if she is a parent I dislike, it's hard to refuse. So, I reluctantly told my mom that I would be okay meeting up with her. I'm not really keen on it, but Matt, will you be there with me? I need to introduce you. Of course, I've been thinking about greeting her whenever you're ready. And then the day came. The day I met my mother for the first time in 8 years. On the day of her visit, I was so nervous that I couldn't sleep the night before. It was the first time I've ever felt like this. She's definitely going to come dressed flamboyantly, like before. And she'll probably say something like, "Oh, you were living in such a simple place." No way. That doesn't sound like something a mother would say. You've never met her, right? That's just her character. Honestly, I hope she leaves quickly, but truthfully, I don't want her to come in the first place. It's a complicated feeling. At that moment, the doorbell suddenly rang. Driven by anxiety, I went to the door and looked outside through the peephole. Mom, what are you doing? Open the door for her. She came all the way here. In front of me was not the flamboyant, loving mother I knew, but someone who looked completely different, significantly emaciated and dressed in plain clothes. What on earth happened? Could it be a serious illness? Naomi, it's been a long time. I really wanted to see you. Mom, what happened? You've lost weight, and what's with those clothes? Are you sick? I was confused, but the next moment, an unbelievable scene unfolded. Surprisingly, my mother apologized in front of me. Naomi, I was wrong. I want you to forgive what I did to you in the past. What are you doing at the entrance? Anyway, lift your head. Come inside first. In this awkward situation, after I introduced Matt to my mom, she began some social talk and gradually started revealing her true feelings. Actually, I've been having a lot of problems with your stepfather lately. What happened? You two seem to get along so well. I'm honestly surprised by this unexpected turn of events. They were always together making me suffer. What happened? I really don't know how to start. It seems I can't even organize my thoughts. Please, just tell me what happened. Try to keep it brief. Mother, take your time. There's no rush. Just talk calmly. According to my mother, he was involved in a scam and was eventually arrested. He was indeed a bit of a problematic person, but I didn't think he was involved in such things. So, what's happening with him now? He's out on bail. That must have been tough. He used to approach my mother at nightclubs and sell her surefire bets on gambling and stocks. He wasn't a particularly charming bartender, but I always wondered why he had so much money. So, my mother has been really stressed, looking nothing like her former self. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be an illness, which is a relief above all. I can't believe it. I thought it was a bit strange, but not to this extent. I was really wrong. By cooperating with such a person, I caused you so much pain. Well, it's all in the past now. It's odd for me to say this, though. At this point, I was already shocked, but the real surprise was still to come. How is Erica doing? She's the daughter of a father who was arrested for fraud, and she went to a prestigious elementary school, right? Has her path to university become more difficult? Really? Because of that awful father, she had to drop out. Now she's studying at a public school with ordinary kids. Truly unfortunate. Ordinary kids. Despite being a troublesome sister, I can't help but sympathize with her situation. Because of her father's fraud, she had to drop out of the school she worked so hard to get into. And there's something else I need to tell you about Erica. I'm a bit scared to hear it. Actually, she's not the real daughter of that bartender who committed the fraud. Really? What does that mean? Apparently, when my mother was frequently visiting nightclubs, she fell in love with her current husband, but also had relationships with other bartenders. Incredibly, some of the bartenders work as researchers at universities during the day and work at nightclubs at night to supplement their income. One of them turned out to be Erica's real father. Erica, unlike her mother and father, is very intelligent and cunning, so I felt something was off, but I never imagined such a surprising truth. Since the researcher is also good-looking, it explains why Erica is said to be cute. Does he know about this fact? Of course. When I got angry about the fraud, he countered by saying that I must be hiding something too. Wow, that really is a major problem. He finally noticed that Erica doesn't resemble him and hired a detective. He found out the truth just before being arrested. It's laughable. Is that really something to laugh about? It's unbelievable. A stepfather arrested for fraud, a mother who had affairs with multiple men while pretending someone else was her daughter's father. This is nothing less than the fate of our family. However, at that moment I remembered something important. So, why have you come here today? Oh, that's the issue. I'm always forgetful. I mentioned earlier that he was released on bail, right? Yes, I heard that. Well, the bail was much higher than expected, and we ended up financially strained. So, I came here wanting to borrow money from you, Naomi. I was instantly dumbfounded by this sudden request. I was foolish to have been worried about her being sick. Yes, she's always been exactly this kind of person. The reason she stopped being fashionable and couldn't afford luxurious meals was that she was financially squeezed due to her husband's fraudulent activities. While she hates working, it seems she has no intention of divorcing him. I truly cannot believe it. Wait a minute. After making me suffer and kicking me out of the house, now you come asking for money? How can you even say that? But I apologized, didn't I? We're family, and this is the time we should support each other. Family? When have you ever acted like a mother to me? Calm down. So how much do you earn? Let me see your bank book. Although my mother had kicked me out before, my anger exploded, and this time I was the one who threw her out of the house. Matt tried to mediate, but I pushed her out the door along with her belongings without heeding him. Fueled by my anger, I can't even remember what I did after that. A week after that nightmarish day, as I was checking the mailbox, another letter from my father had arrived. Disturbed, I decided to open the letter with Matt present. What's this? What's wrong? Is your dad going to show up suddenly, just like your mom? No, it's not that. Incredibly, my father had achieved his dream of becoming a cartoon artist and had finally made his debut. Moreover, his work had been well received, leading to contracts for both cartoon adaptation and live-action movies. Dad, congratulations! I can't believe such wonderful things are happening. It's truly amazing. His long years of effort have finally borne fruit, and it's so amazing to see the results. I wanted to express my gratitude and congratulations to my father directly, so I immediately replied to his letter, expressing my desire to meet him. Soon after, I received a reply agreeing to meet. Let's meet next week. I'm really looking forward to seeing you, Dad. I have so much to talk about. It will be a reunion after 15 years. If it's all right, may I come along too? Of course. He will be very pleased that you're coming. When the promised week arrived, we headed to the apartment where my father lived. As I reached out to ring the doorbell of the apartment room, unexpected voices of children and a woman could be heard from inside. I was a bit bewildered by this situation. Naomi, it's been really long. You've grown up well. And this must be your fiancé, Matt? You've chosen a fine young man? Dad, it's been a long time. But what are those voices coming from inside? I'm sorry for not talking about what happened. Actually, I've remarried. I kind of felt that might be the case. From there, we moved to the nearby diner we had visited before, and this time we took our time eating and talking leisurely. Reuniting with my father after so long felt like turning back time, warming our conversation with nostalgia. Dad, congratulations on making your debut as a cartoon artist and even securing cartoon and movie adaptations. What a fantastic achievement. Yes, that saved me. I was ready to give up if it didn't work out this time. In fact, I quit my job to take on this challenge. What would you have done if it hadn't succeeded? Did your wife agree to that? Well, it turned out well in the end. But there was a time when it caused some tension at home. The reason he hadn't wanted to meet earlier was the uncertainty about his career as a cartoon artist, and he was waiting until he felt more settled. The time I scouted the house when he seemed broken was actually when his wife had left with the children. However, with his debut confirmed and a significant increase in royalties expected, he decided to move to a better apartment. His family forgave him, and they returned to live with him at the new place immediately. After overcoming many challenges, it looks like I can finally provide a good life for my children. I was an insufficient father before, but maybe this will redeem my past failures. It's not about being recognized or not, Dad. I loved you. Your hardship was because of Mom. Oh, about that. I detailed my mom's astonishing past to him. Even my father, who should have fully understood her, was shocked and looked at me with disbelief. However, I think my insight wasn't completely wrong. What do you mean? I had always wondered why he married my mother, but now the reason became clear. When my father first met my mother, he recognized the problems with her personality and thought about using that as material for his cartoon. Seeing my father so passionate, I was nothing but impressed. Matt, although I'm an imperfect father-in-law, I hope you'll continue to support us. No, don't worry and thank you. I'm very happy to hear that your dream has finally come true. I sincerely hope for you to become even more successful in the future. Although I had been living peaceful days, when I returned to the apartment, a surprising scene unfolded before me. Unbelievably, my mother, whom I had once thrown out, had made a shocking reappearance. And there was her problematic husband, and with him, a girl who looked about middle school age. Is she the grown-up Erica? Why are you here again? What kind of attitude are you showing toward your mother? Really, you're as unpleasant as ever. Naomi, you're really annoying. Quiet down, everyone. This is a public space. Please calm down and come inside. There have been talks on suspicions of fraud involving my mother and her husband, and these seem to affect my mother. It's really tough. I never imagined that after Dad got arrested, Mom might be arrested too. Nothing has been confirmed yet. These are just bad rumors. I'm not involved, and it seems like some minor actions at the nightclub have led to a big misunderstanding. That's right. It was just a momentary lapse of judgment on my part. It appears my mother is currently undergoing questioning by the prosecutors. Please, enough already. I hope this doesn't affect my wedding. Of course, they are not invited. So, what exactly have you come here for? I don't have any money. You are my biological child, aren't you? It's only natural that you should help out a bit since I plan to hire a lawyer. That's right, you're my daughter-in-law. And you're my real sister. It's unbelievable. Their true motive seems to be just money. I don't care about these people's futures anymore. Maybe this is a bit too harsh for me to say, but don't you all think you are demanding too much from Naomi? What? It doesn't matter what you, an outsider, say. You're just a normal employee. What makes you think you have the right to say anything? Losers like you are so annoying. At that moment, I was quite agitated, but suddenly, the situation dramatically changed. Excuse me for saying this, but like Naomi's real father, I have big ambitions. Even as I approach 40 years old, my dream is to pass the bar exam and become a prosecutor. That's indeed a noble goal. I hope you achieve that goal, but I doubt that will happen. Just as I was about to splash the glass of water I was holding at them, Matt quickly grabbed my hand to stop me. Actually, I aspire to be a prosecutor because my father works as one in the prosecutor's office. Their mocking attitude changed instantly when they heard this. I did not miss this significant shift. Is that true? Please, Matt, ask your father. My dad is not a bad person, and my mom is not involved in any fraud. You're my brother-in-law, right? Please listen to my wishes. I silently but resolutely decided to kick them out of my apartment. A few days later, I was attending a special party hosted by a publishing house to celebrate the release of my father's new book, along with my father, his new wife, and their children. How's your mother doing after that? We've cut ties, so that family doesn't matter to me anymore. That's a tough stance. But I'm not in a position to say anything negative about you, Naomi. Actually, my father's debut as a writer was based on a cartoon about my mother. The story features a housewife with an overpowering personality who behaves strangely, causing her to be avoided by everyone around her. This unique theme caught the attention of the publishing editor. Actually, she contacted me after a long time, claiming she must be the model for this work and demanded to be paid for being one. She hasn't changed at all. That's surprising. I'd be taken aback by that kind of attitude, too. Cutting ties was probably the right decision after all. According to information I received later on, my stepfather was prosecuted and eventually received a life sentence. Meanwhile, my mother started working as a hostess in a bar introduced by the nightclub where her husband used to work, marking her first formal employment. Erica continues to study with the local community, looking forward to the day her efforts pay off. Meanwhile, Matt and I have built a deep bond with my father's new family and ended up living together in the luxurious apartment he owns. Now, we eagerly await the day when Matt's dreams come true.